Very good afternoon to all of you. I welcome all of you to our session on the particular course that is Management Control System. We are already into block 4 and will be moving into the last unit. So, in this particular block 4, we are attempting to have a look on how management control is applied in various types of industry. One particular unit focused on the various kind of institutions like the financial institutions, like the banks, like the insurance companies, etc. One particular unit tried to focus on the globalized businesses that is prevalent nowadays, that is export import organizations. Then we went into look at the application of management control techniques in the project form of organization. Now, already in the project organization or in this particular unit, we have discussed what is a project, what are the various characteristics of the project, and we have also discussed the various techniques for the planning and control of projects like Gantt chart, like the various kind of ratios. And one of the most important one we shall be discussing is the network technique, particularly the program evaluation and review technique, that is POT. Now, a project can be broken down into small activities. The combination of all the activities in a sequential manner will lead us from the beginning of the project to the end of the project. So while going for the network technique, that means to determine the duration of the project, we look at the activity and its preceding activity along with the time durations. Now, let us see how it is done. Here is an example of various activities in a project and the respective preceding or the previous activities of a particular activity. Suppose, for example, activity A B does not have any kind of preceding activity. That means it is not having any activity before it. Activity BC, if we look carefully, has a preceding activity, that is AB. In other words, we say that the activity AB must be completed so that we can start the activity BC. Similarly, if we look at the last activity EF, we have activity preceding to it is BE and DE, which in other word means that activities BE and DE should be completed before activity EF can be undertaken. And the various time taken for the respective activities are given in the last row. Now we shall try to look at the network diagram, that means the arrangement of activities uh, in order to complete a project. Along with that, what is the duration of the project and any kind of delays, that means the slacks we can have in any kind of activities. Now, if we look at our example that is given, then we can do the network diagram. I'll do the network diagram according to the given information. This is the information given to us. I'll be trying to do the particular network diagram. What I am trying to do by using circles, I am trying to show the various starting point and ending point of the activities marked by capital letters. So, activity A, this is B, this is C, this is F. I am using the upper section for the requirement to find the delays in the various activities. And these are the activities. If I look at the precedence, then we have activity AB, activity BC. Before that, AB should be there. If we look at the information, before BC, AB is there, so we should maintain it. Then one activity is CF, another is AD, then we have DE, EF. We are still left with one activity, that is BE. All are in straight lines. We have to show them in straight lines. Now, the time duration for each of them is AB takes 12 months, BC is 5, CF takes 4, AD takes 6 days, BE takes 6 days, DE takes 8 days, and EF takes 4 days. Now first I have to locate what is the duration of the particular project. So what I do, I try to find out what are the possible paths. When I say paths, that means from the starting point till the ending point, without lifting my pen or finger, I have to move. One is A, B, C, F. You can check yourself. A, B, C, F. Another is A, B, E, F. We also have a third path, that is AD, E, and F. Now let us see what are the time taken by each of the path. ABCF, it is 12 plus 5 plus 4, that is equal to 21. ABEF, 12 plus 6 plus 4, that is equal to 22. ADEF, it is 6, 8, 4, that is 18 months. Now, out of these three paths, path ABEF is having the longest duration. When we complete this particular path, the other two paths should have been completed because they are taking less time. So the path with the longest duration, we call that as the critical path, or the duration is the duration of the project, that is 22 days. That we show in the diagram by AB E F double line arrows. Now you can see clearly this particular path is shown in the diagram, and anyone can identify by looking at the network diagram. Now look at path ABCF. One may say that it is taking 21 days to be completed, but in order to complete the whole project, we are taking the critical path duration, that is 22 days. That means this particular path is or can have a 1 day delay. We can have a 1 day delay. Similarly, I can say path ADEF can have a delay of 4 days. Now let us look at what are the delays that can occur in each of the activities. Now what I do, the lower part of the starting or ending point of an activity, I divide into two parts. Now I start here with 0. Now 0 plus 12, this is B can start only on 12th day. Similarly, AD 0 plus 6, D can start only on 6th day. Now come to BC. BC, when we say 12 plus 5, that is 17 days. Now look at E. If we come from side B, it is 12 plus 6, that is 18. If we come from the D side, because both of them are meeting here at E, from B as well as D. So on this side it is 18, that means from side B. From side D, it is taking 14. So what to put here in case of E? So we take the highest value. So here we take 18. Now 17 plus 4, here at A, you see two paths are converging. So 17 plus 4 is 21 and 18 plus 4 is 22. So when paths are converging, we take the highest one. So we take from the E side, that is giving us the highest one, that is 22. Now let us come back. We equate both the sides of the last point same 22 22. Now let us go back. 22 minus 4. While coming we are adding up. While going backwards we are deducting. 22 minus 4, that is 18 for C. 22 minus 4, that is 18 for E. Now 18 minus 5, that is 13. 18 minus 6, that is 12. Now two paths are coming backwards to B. While going forward, when the paths were converging, we are taking the highest value. So while coming backwards, we take the lowest value. So we take here 12. Similarly, 18 minus 8, that is 10. Now again 12 minus 12 is 0, 10 minus 6 is 4. Here we shall take the lowest one. Now what do this parts mean us? That means the first part is our EST. The second part is latest starting time. That means earliest starting time and latest starting time. For example, let us look at activity AD. Activity AD is here. You can see here. Earliest starting time for AD, A, it is 0, AD. Latest starting time is 0. So we can have a slack of the difference between EST and LST, that is 0. Similarly, for AB, we can have earliest starting time is 0, latest starting time is 0, so the slack is 0. Now look at BC, it is 12 and 12, so the slack is 0. For BE, it is 18 and 18, that is 0. For DE, if we look at DE, 6 and 10, earliest is 6, latest is 10. So we can make a delay of 4 days in path DE. Similarly, look at CF. It is 17. This is 18. So we have a delay of 1 day. EF. It is 18. 18. So the delay is 0. Now look at the critical activities A, B, B, E, E, F. So here A, B has a slack of 0, B, E has a slack of 0, E, F has a slack of 0. In other words, any activity falling on the critical path, you cannot make any kind of delay. If you delay it, then what will happen? The whole project, the time will get overrun. In other paths, you can have delays or other activities falling away from the critical path, there may be delays, there may not be delays. As we find in case of AD, BC, DE and CF. Those are non-critical activities. Now what is crashing? Sometimes what happens? We try to complete the project earlier than it has been planned for. Now we know that in order to complete an activity at a faster rate, we have to work at a faster rate. Now, resources consumed, that means manpower, machineries, they will be added on to the normal conditions and it may cost you higher. For example, let us look at a particular activity AB. Normally it is taking 12 months and it is costing us 10 lakhs. Now, in order to crash the activities, how much extra cost we are earning? Now, for the first 1 month crash or crash by 1 month, that means reduce the duration of activity AB by 1 month, that means from 12 to 11. You are incurring an extra cost of 13 minus 10, that is 3 lakh rupees. That is 3 lakh. Suppose I say the profit is equal to 4 lakh. That means I am spending 3 lakh, reducing the project length by 1 month. Thereby, I am making a profit of, or if this is revenue, that means increase in revenue we can say. That means you are having a profit of 1 lakh rupees. Now look at the crashing that happens for the second time. That means if I crash activity AB by 2 months, that means from 12 months it is reduced to 10 months. What is the cost incurred? No? 10 and 18, it gives me 8 lakh. Or from the first crash, the cost involved is 5 lakh. And revenue is 4 lakh. So here the profit is equal to negative 1 lakh. So we shall not go for the second crashing. We can go for crashing by 1 month because it generates a profit for the project by 1 month. Now when we are executing the project, these are the aspects you have to look at. The planning process act as guidelines for the managers, the project managers. We should adhere to the work packages, the schedule and the budget. There should be clear identification of managers responsible for the work packages or the activities. Periodical reviews or if we look at the status of the activity at periodic time periods, then we can have variances and prepare a variance report. If any kind of troubleshooting is there, then you have to prepare the trouble reports. Now we can make a punch list. What is that punch list? Now sometimes the clients or the customers will be telling us, no, no, this activity is not what we wanted. This has to be revised to such kind of thing. So these small things, as insisted by the client, are included and prepared as a punch list. And periodical revisions should be taken in order to know the variances, and proper auditing should be taken maybe during the project or also at the end of the project in order to know whether the schedule and the budget are adhered to. Now, we try to evaluate the project at its end. So, there we try to look at how each activity has been performed, how the resources have performed, what was the performance of the human resources, is there any increase in cost, that means cost overruns, and finally the results, whether it is matching the objectives for which the project has been started with. So this is regarding the application of the project techniques or management control system in projects. Now we shall move into the last unit of this particular course, management control system, block 4, that is management control in some special organization. Here we shall try to look in unit 16, the last unit, as I have said, other organizations. So when I am talking about other organizations, we shall limit our focus on, first we can say, to the various types of small and medium enterprises. We also limit our focus to developmental organizations, as well as we shall focus on certain other organizations as we move on, particularly the most rapidly growing sector, that is the knowledge organizations. So here other organizations, here our focus will be limited to developmental organizations, the small and medium enterprises, that means the small industries, and the knowledge organizations. What are the special requirements of these organizations and how management control system is undertaken in these organizations. Now let us look at the first, that is the development organizations. Some of the example of development organizations can be National Literacy Mission, that means improving the literacy rate across the country. Mission Shakti, that means empowering women, particularly the household women who are just above the poverty line. That means how to encourage them to get into the mainstream, get some knowledge, skill, and apply that to generate some income for themselves. Similarly, we can have KVIC programs, etc. a large number of government programs. uh, you can have one of the biggest mission by developmental organization or the health sector in India was the COVID vaccination program. All of us might have experienced that 3 or 4 years back, where mass vaccination was undertaken for all the population, and it was done not only once but twice, along with the third time that was for a booster dose of the COVID vaccine. Now, these organizations are set up with a specific mission, National Literacy Mission. As we said, the specific mission is to improve the uh, we can say to improve the literacy rate or educate the students, or also the old persons who were not educated. That means adult education program. Similarly, as I said, Mission Shakti, it is to empower the women so that they acquire a set of skills in order to have some kind of revenue generation avenues. Here, the focus is on the development of the nation. Somebody may say that or ask that, is it only undertaken by the government? Here we try to say, no. Why only the government does it? There are many other organizations who carry out such kind of activities, or there are many developmental organizations who do lots of the various kind of developmental activities for the nation. For example, we have a particular organization called as Akshay Patra. Now this Akshay Patra organization, it prepares the food at least for 2 times that the children will get at the school, maybe the breakfast as well as the lunch. So what Akshay Patra does, they have some central kitchens. There they prepare nutritious food, healthy food, and these are transported to various schools in the remote areas, underdeveloped regions, or schools which are located in backward areas, and the children who come to the school are given this food. These children may not be having a handful of food at their home. So this brings out the children to join the schools. That means apart from getting nutritious food, they will also get educated. The main motive of Akshay Patra Foundation is to provide the proper nutritious food to the needy children, but it also serves another purpose, that it increases the uh, intake, or we can say the childrens to come to school. Similarly, we have uh, programs for wildlife also. We have save tiger projects. That means since tigers are becoming in the are coming under the endangered list, projects are being undertaken to have them at least at the present level or to increase their numbers. Similarly, you also have programs to save the rivers of the nation. We can have lots of such kind of developmental organizations or developmental activities by different organizations, not only the government ones but also the private ones. The work is extremely varied. Just now we are discussing it can be literacy, it can be food, it can be health, it can be developing the skills, it can be improvement of the river conditions in India, it can also be to save the wildlife, etc. etc. So here we have three main overlapping set of activity and roles: the implementation, the partnership, and catalysis. Now the organization implements the program, maybe in partnership with certain other organizations, and the program tries to catalyze, that means increase the rate of the developmental activities. So when we are talking about implementation, we are talking of where to get the resources, because when we undertake developmental activities by organizations, we require resources in terms of money or capital, the basic one, manpower. So where from we shall get it, where from we shall mobilize them. When we are talking of partnership, is it the program of the particular developmental organization, or is it in a partnership with the government? Now, why it is a catalyst? Now, it inspires, facilitates, or contributes to the rate of development. The rate of development is increased. Now, how the management control system is undertaken in development organizations. We know the developmental organization is always of welfare nature, be it the human beings, be it the animals, the plants, the rivers, the sea, or the marine life, or be it the atmosphere or the air condition, be it the pollution, etc. Now these are funded by the government or the aid agencies. Now who are the aid agencies? Many times we have seen aids from inside the country as well as from outside the country comes to run these welfare activities by the development organizations. We have World Health Organization, we have organizations, aid agencies set up by the Bill Gates Foundation. Similarly, lots of other foreign agencies are there. Also in India, many people are there who try to undertake this developmental activities. That means they are into this kind of philanthropic work. The management controls are policies and procedures to ensure, first of all, to achieve the results or to move towards the result for which the developmental organization has been set up. Now, the resources that are being used are consistent with the mission or consistent with the welfare activities. Now, the management control tries to avoid any kind of wastage of resources, tries to prevent any kind of frauds or fraudulent practices and mismanagement. The management control makes the developmental organization adhere to the laws and regulations that are being set up by the authority of the land. Here, the management control system tries to obtain reliable and timely information regarding the various kind of activities that are ongoing by the undertaken by the developmental organization. These are maintained means recorded. These are reported or informed to the authorities, and this can be used for decision making. Now, when you are talking of developmental organizations, what are the management control system elements that we have to keep in view? First of all, we should clearly define the duties and responsibilities among the employees of the developmental organization. We should have a plan that limits access to the principal department's resources to authorized personnel only. That means whatever are the resources, they can be used by the authorized personnel only. Not anybody who wants can tap into the principal department's resources. Now there should be a proper plan of authorization and record keeping. That means who are the persons that will be authorized to use the resources. Now if they use the resources, how do we know that has been taken at which point of time and for what purpose? For that we need record keeping. System of practices to be followed in performance of duties and functions. Now from the beginning we said the employees should have clearly defined the duties and responsibilities. Not only that, there should also be a system how these duties and responsibilities or the functions should be carried out. Another aspect is the qualified personnel. Every mission has different objective, or the mission of developmental organization is widely varied. One cannot say that whoever is working in a particular developmental organization can work in another developmental organization of different kind. Suppose one is working in the health sector, that means the developmental activities in the health sector. We cannot take him and ask that you work in the watershed program in the rural districts of the particular country's belt where water is not available. So we should have qualified personnel, experienced, have ideas in the particular developmental organization's activities. The techniques that are to be used should be effective and efficient. That means the technique should provide us results which are good. Now, what are the fundamentals of management control system in developmental organizations? First of all, it is an ongoing process. Many times we have seen the developmental activities by developmental organizations. One may say that it will stop after the program ends. No, the persons or the health workers involved in the or during the period of COVID vaccination may be working in some other vaccination program after the COVID vaccination is over, or sometimes or most of the times the developmental activities are an ongoing process. It never stops. These developmental organizations are affected or influenced by people, because it is for the people for whom the activities are being undertaken. So their mindset, their requirement, etc. affects the developmental activities. It provides reasonable assurance. The management control system should provide assurance to the various workers involved in the various activities. It should be focused on achievement of objectives in separate but overlapping categories. That means each developmental organization have three kind of, or we can say broadly three kind of categories, objective categories. One is operational. So what is the objective there? That to achieve the effectiveness and efficiency. Second is the financial objectives. Now here, since developmental organizations are not for profits, but whatever the capital or the revenue or the funds that are coming for the developmental activities, the utilization statements, the various kind of annual statements should be done, and the schedule of expenditure should also be maintained. And important objective is it should be compliant with the laws and regulations. Now, when we are looking at the components of management control system, we have a control environment. Who controls the thing? Now, it is the management who controls the thing. What they do? They assign the responsibility and the authority. They look at the competence of the employees. They set up the human resource policies and practices, try to maintain the integrity and ethical values in the organization, organizational structure according to the need is set up. Second is the risk assessment. Now, when we are taking developmental activities, always we cannot say that it will give you the desired results. However, in anticipation of desired results, we go forward for the developmental activities by organizations. For that, we assess the risk also. Now, objectives and the mission should be measurable. That means some kind of target should be there which are to be achieved. Now, wherefrom the risk can arise in the various developmental activities. Now, for that, what are the possible solutions? And we manage the risk by undertaking the best solution, that is risk management. Now, when we look at the control activities, we look at the policies and procedures of the organization. There should be periodic reviews of the performance, and if the organization is working at multiple places, there should be reconciliation of the results so that a final result can be found out. There should be a physical control. When we say physical control, it means that the physical assets like land and building, like the machineries, the equipments, etc. The record should be kept, and we should have a control over that. The system of information processing should be clearly mentioned, as well as the segregation of duties. Another two important components of management control system in developmental organization are the information and communication. When we are talking about information, it is to produce the data that enables control of relevant information flow. Now, who shall provide the information? Now, it is the employees. It is the responsibility of the employees. Now, the information should be appropriate, on time, and accurate, and should be accessible. We cannot say that the information that has been provided cannot be accessed by others. And the information communication will work in two ways: internal communication, external communication. When we are talking of internal communication, the information will flow towards the management and from the management towards the bottom line. When we are talking of external communication, we will be talking about the nature of work done by the developmental organization, how much it has achieved, how much it is planning to achieve in the future years to the outside world, the general public, maybe the third party agencies or government legal authorities, etc. And we also look at the monitoring part. How do we monitor it? We can have reviews, the management reviews, compare the outcomes, reconcile with the various other branches and other duties. So we can have a ongoing evaluation of the activities so that periodic results will be coming up. Apart from that, we can have separate evaluations as and when it is needed. Now, some of the limitations are the judgmental mistakes. Maybe the management of the developmental organization will try to override the actions of the lower level management. There may be collusion of interest. Similarly, the cost versus benefits. Even though we say that it is not for profits, but the benefits in non-monetary terms should be higher than the costs. Now, let us look at another type of special organization, that is small and medium enterprises. Here we mean the micro, that means very small organizations, enterprises, small and medium enterprises. The micro are those where investment is up to 1 crore in plant and machinery and their annual turnover is maximum up to 5 crore rupees. Similarly, for small, it is 10 crores investment with a turnover of 50 crores annually. The medium category or medium enterprises, the investment is up to rupees 50 crore in plant and machinery, and the turnover may be maximum up to 250 crores. Now, when I say micro enterprise, you may say that I am setting up a shop, exclusive outlet, it can be micro. I will be setting up a departmental store, it can be a small industry or enterprise. I will set up an ancillary industry of iron and steel, it can come under the medium enterprises, and it is the dominant constituent of nation's gross domestic productivity. The major function here is it provides employment to large chunk of the population. Now, here they face lots of problems like availability of raw material is difficult. Due to lack of capital, their production methods may be outdated, which may be leading to low productivity. There can be difficulties in certification and sales. We know that certification is required for exports or to generate a fair idea of quality in the mind of the customers. But these SMEs may find it difficult. Now, to push their sales, they give high amount of credit to the customers, forcing to a high receivable list. Also, due to since they cannot be able to sell their products, their inventory levels may be high. Some of the characteristics are managerial skills are not there, discontinuous may be there, accessing the market is there. Here, the management control tries for innovations, the brand increase, the supply chain efficiency, the value platform increase, etc. Now, finally, the knowledge organizations, nowadays it is prevalent in the society. We can say, suppose Infosys, we can say the Dr. Reddy's working in genetics, LG working in electronics, the Tata Finance, like financial companies, are examples of knowledge organizations whose main activity is to generate revenue out of the knowledge skills of the employees. The benefits are high revenue, increasing competitive advantage, cost reduction, etc. But the threat may be support of senior management, training, etc. The strategic activities mainly are focused on intellectual capital, and this is the area which is going to force the world towards the knowledge era. So here management control system tries to innovate and develop an information infrastructure. Here the company size is important and the technology is also important. So with this we try to come to an end. Thank you.